Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is Societal Narcissism. And this video is sponsored by contribution from John. This is what he writes. What does a post-baby boomer world look like? After most baby boomers are either dead or too disabled to have influence on society, especially the USA, England, Canada, and Australia, what happens to the housing, migration, drugs, and other issues? Also, how does the internal politics and geopolitics function going forward? Thank you, John. Well, John, it's an interesting question. And I believe you're in Australia. So, I've been saying for years, you guys are way ahead of Europe is way ahead of the United States on the societal narcissism scale, though we are catching up very, very quickly. You know, and the best way to answer this, is to just look at the generations. Like, baby boomers are in charge; they've been in charge for a while, and if you look at the population breakdowns by generation, of society and of the world, doesn't look good. Because as it stands right now, the baby boomers are 28.58% of the total population. Gen X is 19.61. Millennials are 21.67, and Gen Z, and this goes up to, and Gen Z is 20.88, so almost 21%. So you have the millennials and Generation Z basically accounting for 42% of the total population now, and that's with baby boomers running everything. So, and Gen Z ends at 2012. So now you have the latest generation that is going to be, that is going to throw off the numbers even more as the baby boomers begin, keep dying off, as will Gen X. Gen X is already the smallest generation by percentage and by number. So look at it logically. Look at where we are. Look at who thinks what and how they think it. The baby boomers are going to hold on to power until they die. It's just they're gonna. I mean, like, look at politicians like Feinstein dies in office at like 90 years old. Okay, you got octogenarians, Biden, and even Trump's gonna be in his 80s. Okay, Schumer, Trump, Pelosi, all these boomers are going to hang on to power until they die. Until they die. Never really giving. And what's going to happen is Gen X is never going to be in power. They're never going to get their chance. Because what's going to happen by the time enough boomers die off, by the time enough boomers die off, where there's actual positions of substance available, the Gen Xers are going to be outvoted by the millennials and Gen Z. They outnumber us 2-1. So what you have to do is you have to look at what their politics are and what their thinking is, and how they're interacting and how they've been raised and what they believe. And it's not good. It's not good at all. Because let's face it, what really controls society is the judges, is your prosecutors, is your judges. And you see all this craziness coming out of these law schools, all this crazy thinking, and I'm going to try to keep it vague, but you guys know where I stand politically. Okay, because I'm trying to keep this channel going in the right direction. Okay? The millennials, the Gen Zers, they don't care about our Constitution, your Constitution, the Canadian Constitution, the UK's Constitution. They don't care. They're on a mission. Legislators in black robes. And these millennials and these Gen Zers, once they get into power, once they get law degrees, and once they become lawyers and start becoming judges, we are completely screwed. I think society is going to be in trouble for a very, for a very long time. Probably for a generation after that, until things normalize. I don't want it to be that way, but you got to look at it. You got to look at it from reality. The number of millennials that actually think conservatively, and then the Gen Zers that think conservatively and care about their borders or their country or conservatism is waning. They already outnumber Gen X by 2-1. So basically, when the boomers die, and the boomers are more in line with the Gen Zers and the millennials than they are with Gen X. I think it's going to be ugly. They want no borders. Okay, they want to give free housing to everybody except the people who are citizens of the countries that you live in. If you're an Australian citizen, you are at the bottom of the list. If you're an American citizen, you're at the bottom of the list. If you're a Canadian citizen, a born Canadian citizen, you're at the bottom of the list. For these open borders, new migrants, and they're going to be pushing hard drugs. They're going to be pushing what you've been seeing, the grooming and the other behaviors that you're seeing. And the courts used to be the fail-safe, used to be the stopgap for all this craziness. But once these crazy kids, once these millennials and Gen Zers got law degrees and worked their way in as prosecutors and cops and lawyers and then judges, They don't care about Constitution. They don't care about past history. They have a vision of some kind of one world utopia, okay, i.e. Marxism, socialism, communism, whatever you want to call it, because they've been told they're righteous, because they've been told, and they believe it, the ends justify the means. We're in trouble. Regardless of who wins the presidency, I still only think Trump has a 50-50 shot, and I'd be real surprised if they let him take power again. I really do. I really am. I really would be surprised if it actually can happen. Because the elections aren't real. We know the elections aren't real. Nobody's elections are real. I think the stuff gets bad for a long time. I think, I don't know if you're a Star Trek fan or how many of you are Star Trek fans, especially specifically the original series, the Shatner series, where, the whole premise was the world went through the eugenics wars, where it was massive social upheaval. 31 million people were killed during the eugenics wars. It took 2 generations before everybody came to their senses again and realized that this one world nonsense, that it didn't work. Because their goals here are to change realities. to deny to deny basic biology, because the ends justify the means. And I think for no other reason other than if you just look at the population numbers, okay, it's bad news. It's bad news. The younger generations, the millennials and the Gen Zers, outnumber the Gen Xers 2-1. The only thing that's kind of holding it together is half the boomers vote conservative, and maybe 20% of the millennials vote conservative. Gen Z is lost. That's gone. So as the boomers die off and Gen X dies off, okay, and I don't think Gen X is ever really going to get their chance to run anything, because by the time stuff starts opening, the millennials are already trying to get power. And they outnumber us. And everything with those two generations is identity politics anyway. I think we're in trouble. You know, that's how I see it. And it has nothing more to do, and it has nothing really more contributing to it than the population numbers. It's just how it is. So I'm gonna keep this one on the short side. I don't want to catch any hate strikes or anything like that, or throw off the algorithm. But you got to realize, the position we're in and what you're dealing with when you see these marches, these riots, whatever you want to call them, out in the streets. It's hundreds of thousands of young people, of millennials and Gen Zers out there, rabble rousing. Okay, what's going to happen when they take power? None of it's good. And we're probably going to go through, 30 to 50 years of some really, really shitty times. That's the reality. That's why I've been talking about balkanization for so long, is to get to an area that thinks like you, around people that think like you, and to balkanize, because you're stronger in groups. That's just how it is. It's the best you can do to protect yourself. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much, John, for the contribution and the topic. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice or any opinions in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with either the Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, and email links in the description box below. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews, and this has been Societal Narcissism. Take care, everyone.